Hey, invested agents. Love this song. All right. And Mondays are always super busy with team meetings and following up with prospects and handling all the projects, whatever's kind of pushed over from the previous week, and planning for things that are coming up and all the other craziness that's going on in business and in life. So heading to the gym now. I like to work out in the mornings, but can't, with all the gyms closed in Sugarland, I can't make it all the way to Bella Terra and get back for the morning meeting. So I'm doing it now and head back to the house and finish up on some office stuff before we wind down. So, hey everyone, welcome to the Invested Agents podcast. Live from my mobile office, my truck, heading to the gym. Wanted to talk today a little bit. I was thinking about the biggest thing that gets in the way of a great life. And I was kind of thinking back from my personal experience, and the biggest thing that gets in the way of a great life is a lot of people would probably think it's some big obstacle or a timing issue or a whole bunch of things. But when you boil it all down, it typically comes down to they already have a good life. And when you have a good life and you're comfortable, there's not a lot of strong motivation to move from that. Financially, being a specific thing, if you got a good job, you're bringing in good money and all your bills are taken care of, or maybe you don't really have a lot of debt. And at that point, the pressure to get out and start a new business is pretty low. And to go out and create another income stream is low. So that was my experience whenever I graduated Texas A&M, and I'd done four flips, or 4 deals. They weren't flips, but 4 real estate deals while I was in college. Pretty remarkable, since I didn't have a job, didn't have income, no credit, kind of the, I guess, quintessential no money, no credit kind of testimonial. But at that point, got a high-paying sales job in Houston, and I didn't have really any debt. I think we had a little line of credit with the one of the rentals that we got, and I'm gonna talk more about those other 2 deals. I talked about the first 2 in the previous episodes. I'll talk about the number 3, number 4 as well. But at this point in my life, I had a good life, and I was making like $90,000 or so. I guess the first year after graduating was in the 70s, and it went up from there in a very low stress inside sales job. So it was a good life, and on top of that, I was listening to all the economic chatter and just decided it wasn't the time. Like, why get out there and especially hearing all the economic chatter with pre-foreclosures. This is 2005 through really 2010 time period in my life. Why get out there and do that when everyone's saying, hey, the economy's going to bust and things are going to go crazy, and listening to Fox News or talk radio or whatever. Not a good life. Why get out and risk it? So that's what I did. Despite reading, I kept up on. I've always been into self-help books. So I'd keep up on education. I'd actually go to some, not the Rich Club. I think I went to a couple events in Houston, the Rich Club. But I met up with some cash flow groups. We were just playing cash flow 101, Rich Dad Poor Dad's kind of Monopoly on steroids game. But that was about it. I was always waiting. Hey, if if that big crash happened, like boom, I'll jump in. But looking back, that time that I spent just waiting and sitting on the sidelines cost. If I would have done anything like what we did when we actually started getting going, when Jamie and I started getting going in 2011, if we would have done anything remotely close to that progress, it's millions in lost opportunity that we'd have today, and probably tens of millions when you add up appreciation, because at that time we probably would have done a lot of rentals. So I had a good life, and I let that good life cost me upwards of tens of millions of dollars. So what I challenge you is, think about it. If you're comfortable, nothing great really ever comes out of comfort. I mean, there are individuals out there that they keep themselves purposefully in a state of perpetual stress, not negative stress, but just they keep that mindset on themselves. David Goggins talks about it all the time. He does something that just absolutely sucks for at least an hour a day to remind himself about where he's been and where he's come from and how far he still has yet to go. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but to reflect back on, if you're hesitant on taking that leap towards whatever it is you really want to get to, whether it's physically, financially, emotionally, or whatever, look back. Is it because you're comfortable? And chances are it probably is. And then second, don't listen to all the chatter. It is good to have a light pulse on the market, but one of the things that I remember Warren Buffett saying was he does not pay attention to the news when he's making financial decisions. He just doesn't do it. It comes down to the fundamentals. So, and I see a ton of that. Actually, we probably should make that a whole other episode. So I see a ton of that going on right now with the pandemic. COVID-19, everyone's talking about unemployment, and you get all the eviction moratoriums going on, and the foreclosure, or at least the forbearance numbers, and with the banks, and all this, like, there's this coming foreclosure wave that's going to be coming. So people are like, I'm just holding out. I'm not buying. I'm waiting. I'm going to wait. And what they don't realize is that they could, maybe they're right. Maybe the greatest crash since 2008 happens next year or in 2 years, and there'll be a huge buying opportunity. But depending on their fundamentals and what you're looking to do, like especially buying rentals right now. If you're buying rentals in the sub $200,000 market, it's my opinion you could pay retail on MLS. You'd have to put a little bit more money down, and you still do well over time. I firmly believe that they're just not making any more housing. They're just not making housing that cheap. But the cost of that delay for folks that aren't, that when you look at the fundamentals and you're looking at properties, and maybe you got to add a little bit more, hedge a little bit more for the added risk, especially if you're buying rentals. Hedge a little bit more for potential vacancy, or maybe a longer hold time because you're going to wait for that right tenant that can take a 1.5 or 2 months deposit. But when you're buying on fundamentals, don't worry about the news. Don't worry about the craziness. Don't worry about the impending crash. And maybe "don't worry" isn't the right word. But I guess what I'm saying is, don't let the negative 24-hour a day news cycle start affecting your investment decisions. That's advice from the greatest investor in the world, Warren Buffett. And I see people doing that, and it's fine. I actually appreciate it to a degree, because that just means I have fewer competition. I don't think it matters too much because there's just so much competition out there. But I'm okay if some people want to sit out. But if you buy in the fundamentals and you don't get too greedy, buy in fundamentals, be safe, hedge against risks, and that's smart. Hedging against risks, even changing risks. And if you do feel there could be future risks coming up, like a pending crash, perhaps getting into short-term financing when you don't have the cash to get out, or other financing options to get out, maybe that's something you don't want to do. So it is smart to hedge against your risks, but don't make that an excuse to just sit back and do nothing. Because you can't control what the stock market does tomorrow. You can't control what the economy does tomorrow. All you can control is what you're doing today. And if you're buying assets, or if you're making decisions, you can make decisions based on fundamentals and hedge against the downside and keep moving forward. The cost of inaction will cost you a lot more money over time, which, especially if you're letting that inaction happen because you have a good life. So, sum it up. If you got a good life, so do a little self-assessment and see if maybe that's the root reason why you're not moving forward to achieve your goals, the goals that that are burning in your heart, and you really want to achieve them, but you're having a good life, and maybe you need to do a little self-reflection on that and reassess your priorities. And then 2, don't let the negative news cycle and what you think might happen in the future push you to inaction today. Buy on fundamentals, hedge against risks, take a little bit of extra hedge if you need to and if you feel it's necessary, but don't sit it out. See y'all tomorrow.